Gidris bows his head to the ground, confessing that he had no choice. The opportunity was too tempting, he says. If it weren't for that cursed magic crystal orb, I would have succeeded. Calyx narrows his eyes. What's this about a magic crystal orb? Gidris explains that the orb was used to access the vault. He adds that duplicating the orb cost him 2,500 gold. Calyx begins piecing things together. He rescinds, he says, flatly. The bandits and Gerard Merks were likely working together. Gidris shakes his head, insisting it's impossible. I saw it on my own eyes. Gerard used the orb to open the vault door. Calyx orders Gidris to reveal the vault's location. It's in the highlands of Gorda that Gidris says. Calyx opens his map, and while Gidris admits he was blindfolded during his attempt, is confident the vault is in that region. The prince pauses, deep in thought. Everyone around him wonders why he's just standing there staring at nothing. Focusing on the map, Calyx deduces a potential area to investigate. He realizes he needs someone familiar with the highlands of Gorda. Remembering Layla's comment, her orphan squad was trained in Gorda, he formulates a plan. Calling for the guard, he announces they're leaving. Gidris, desperate, shouts after him, demanding to know where he's going. But Calyx leaves without answering while the guard slams the cell door shut. Walking away, Calyx can't help but think about the 3,000 gold Gidris stole and how this guard likely pocketed his share. His fury grows as he contemplates it further. He suddenly stops and calls for Shu with a guard. Startled, Shu nervously asks what he needs. Calyx casually mentions the 3,000 gold Gidris stole, asking if Shu knew about it. Shu, feigning ignorance, vehemently denies any knowledge. Calyx smirks and starts walking away. I overheard something interesting from Gidris while you were out, he says cryptically. I'm a generous person, but there are things I simply can't overlook. He leaves Shu sweating, unsure if the prince knows more than he's letting on. Calyx's mind races with possibilities that he remains outwardly composed. For now, he's in a dilemma, but he knows this is just the beginning. The guard collapses to the ground, wailing that the Gand, pig, Gidris must have revealed everything while he was away. Desperate, he begs for forgiveness, promising never to betray anyone again. But Calyx doesn't respond. It's only when the guard looks up that he realizes the prince has already left. However, the guard shrugs it off, shifting his anger toward Gidris. Determined to take revenge, he bolts toward the dungeon. Meanwhile, Calyx is leaning casually behind a well, smirking to himself. Suddenly, someone approaches from behind, catching his attention. He turns, raising an eyebrow, and asks who the person is. By their attire, he identifies them as a knight from the Order of the Blue Lion. He asks what the knight is doing here. The knight introduces himself as Kraut Solemn, explaining that Lord Russell assigned him to accompany the prince. Calyx acknowledges this, immediately activating his system to analyze Kraut's stats. To get surprised, Kraut is 26 years old, a senior knight, level 52, and classified as S rank, a remarkable warrior. Calyx is impressed, wondering why someone of this caliber wasn't part of Heroes of Destiny. The name Kraut Solemn doesn't ring any bells, leading Calyx to suspect he must have died early in the game's timeline. With a potential score exceeding 700, Kraut could have easily been among the top 100 strongest individuals on the continent. His military ranking, combined with his raw power, makes him a formidable asset. Calyx muses that Kraut might even be connected to the infamous Messenger of Death, a character in the game who slaughtered enemies mercilessly, never revealing his face. But Kraut's cheerful demeanor and muscular physique don't align with a thin, sinister figure described in the game. Deciding not to dwell on it further, Calyx acknowledges that having someone like Kraut around is beneficial regardless of his past. Kraut calls out to the prince, snapping him from his thoughts, and comments that he must have been daydreaming since he'd been muttering Kraut's name repeatedly. Before Calyx can reply, Kraut informs him that a merchant named Gerard Merces has requested an audience. Hearing this, Calyx's eyes narrow. Gerard Merces, the very name Gidris had mentioned earlier. The man to Miss Hickanote its crippling debt, and the only one with access to the mysterious secret vault. Now things are getting interesting. Calix strides forward, beckoning Kraut to follow. As they walk through the corridor, as Calix observes Kraut's slightly clumsy demeanor and concludes it's impossible for him to be the messenger of death. A short time later, they arrive at a meeting room. Calix steps inside, greeted by Gerard, who places a hand on his chest and introduces himself as the head of a small trading company. Calix responds politely, remarking that he's heard of Gerard's well-respected reputation in business. "Talented merchants like you are always welcome," he adds. Gerard bows deeply, thanking the prince for his kind words. Calix cuts to the chase, asking why a successful merchant like Gerard would seek a meeting with someone like him. "I currently hold no official position of authority," Calix points out. "If this is about business, I have no jurisdiction over territorial matters." Gerard chuckles awkwardly, admitting that while it's true Shiking is currently managed by Count Russell, the territory's future belongs to Calix. "There's no one in Shiking who opposes your decisions," Prince Calix strides as confidently. Calix, maintaining his humility, counters, "Don't overestimate me. I'm just one of two heirs, nothing more." Kraut laughs, pointing out that Calix is being far too modest. Everyone knows the succession has already been decided, even if it hasn't been formally announced. Gerard nods, admitting that such rumors align with what he's heard. The merchant apologizes if his words were presumptuous. Calix notes that Gerard is undeniably a capable businessman. After all, someone without access to vital information wouldn't survive in this line of work. However, Gerard finds himself puzzled. The prince before him doesn't match the rumors of a naive and foolish boy. The person he sees is sharp, calculating, and far more mature than expected. Still, Gerard compliments Calix's striking appearance, admitting that the rumors about his beauty weren't exaggerated. Blushing, Gerard remarks that Calix is exactly his type. Feeling an ominous intent behind Gerard's words, Calix abruptly stands, his voice firm. "I don't like wasting time," he declares. "If you don't get to the point, I'm leaving." Gerard immediately apologizes, realizing he can't afford to lose this meeting. Though he's captivated by the prince's charm, his priority is securing a working relationship with him. Seated once more, Calix watches Gerard carefully and orders him to speak directly. Gerard explains that he wants to support the prince, but his primary reason for being here is the massive debt left by the previous count. Fading ignorance, Calix claims he's never heard of such a debt. "The guy managing finances is in prison for his crimes," he adds nonchalantly. Kraut, standing nearby, cringes at Calix's casual nose-picking, finding it utterly distasteful. Unfazed, Gerard smirks, having anticipated this response. He knows that Calix is far from clueless, and this conversation is just getting started. Gerard begins explaining, the sly smile. "This all started just 5 years ago, so it's impossible you don't know about it." He beams, thinking this is the moment he's been waiting for. Envisions the despair on this adorable little prince's face, the fear when confronted with the monumental debt. Gerard is eager to watch Calix break down into tears, his face twisting in helplessness. It continues, "According to the terms of a 3-year contract, the payment can be demanded at any time. It's unfortunate, but I must inform you, in 2 weeks, 60,000 gold coins must be paid." Kraut freezes at the number of, visibly shocked, while Calix remains calm. His expression unreadable. Gerard assumes the prince is pretending to stay composed, finding his attempt at stoicism absolutely delightful. It revolves in the sight, continuing his internal monologue. "Stop flirting with my protagonist, Gerard. Where are the wafers?" Calix, however, says nothing. Kraut finally speaks up, nervously asking Gerard to consider postponing the payment date. But Gerard quickly dismisses the idea. Silence falls between them. Breaking it, Gerard says with mock pity, "It's truly unfortunate, but Shiken's territory has been declining rapidly. We've shown goodwill by waiting over a year for recovery, but nothing changed. Now that Prince Calix is taking charge, we need to repay this courtesy." Calix recognizes Gerard's facade of generosity, noting how cleverly he masks his extortion behind politeness. The prince rises, nonchalantly remarking, Perhaps you're unaware, but Shikan's annual revenue exceeds 6,000 gold coins. Finding someone willing to lend 60,000 gold won't be an issue. Kraut's confusion deepens, unable to believe such a claim. Gerard stands, feigning delight. That's excellent news. It seems there's nothing to worry about then. But inside, Gerard knows how difficult it is to secure connections for such an amount. He announces he'll return soon to collect the payment and leaves. Confident this territory will soon fall into his grasp. As he leans into Bo, Gerard's thoughts turn sinister. Soon enough, this pampered noble brat will be groveling at my feet. Maybe I'll sell him at the slave market, but not before enjoying my prize. He departs thanking Calix and wishing him good fortune. Calix watches and leaves unfaithful while Kraut stands there trying to process what just happened. Kraut blurts out, 60,000 gold. How can you stay so calm about this?